Yeah, Arrowhead Chiefs. It's your girl, Miss Nicole. Queen of Hustle, baby. Started from the bottom, now we here. My homie at the start of his career. Let's go. Try to warn him early, hear the truth. Tune in every Sunday for the juice. Arrowhead Chief Podcast, bringing all the news. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Great style. Out here rapping for the crew. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube.
What's up, Chief Keenum? Tuned in to the Arrowhead Chief Podcast, episode 222. Chiefs Offseason Draft Talk. I got a special guest, Chris Cero of 96.5 The Fan and Characters Concerns Podcast. Like I said, I hope everybody's having a good day. Chris, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you having me here. Man, this is a busy time for me right now. Yeah, I mean, I did 2 podcasts yesterday, so this is my third in 2 days. Nice. But I'm excited to be on. I mean, you know, this is my favorite time of year outside of the actual football season. So, right. Yeah, I love the draft, and it's always great to be able to talk it.
Cool. Well, before we get into the Chiefs, man, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you been in the business? How long you been doing your thing, man?
So I've been working for 96.5 The Fan, obviously back since it was 610.
Right.
But I started working there in 2013. So I'm pretty deep in the game. It's like 12 years now. And I started working in promotions, but I've been on the air for just a little bit over 11 years now. Like right around, it's like, I think it's like 11 years this month. So yeah, I've been doing it for a minute, producing, hosting. I do all the draft coverage that you hear on 96.5 The Fan. So draft weekend, if you listen to our draft coverage, I'm going to be hosting it with my guy, Jay Binkley.
Nice. You guys always do a good job with the draft. So, you know what I'm saying?
I always appreciate the support we get from our listeners.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, man, let's talk about free agency a little bit, man, because the theme of the Chiefs this offseason has been, you know, let's bring back most of our guys back, you know, the ones that we feel like are valuable to us, the Hollywood Browns, Charles Omenihu, Kareem Hunt. You got Trey Smith, who's came, you know, they brought him back. Nick Bolton, they brought him back. What were your overall thoughts on some of the players that they have brought back?
So, like, the strategy that they had to bring back the guys that they had on their team already, that they got chemistry with, not surprising. I mean, I think the only deal that might have been a little surprising is Nick Bolton. Not so much like the fact that he got brought back, but the amount of money they paid him. Because, I mean, I was like, man, that's a lot of money. But I did tell people before to look out for him coming back, because him and Spags, they real tight. And there's not a lot of linebackers that can play that position the way that Spags wants them to play. So I thought it was only natural that, you know, if he was, like I said, the money was the only kind of thing I was surprised about, but I wasn't surprised he got brought back. But aside from that, I mean, look, they bring back the guys that they know are going to play well for them, that have played well for them, and guys that they're confident that for the long term, they're going to be able to keep contributing to the team. So, I mean, you know, it's not surprising that they brought back most of the guys. I know it's not exciting for a lot of people because a lot of people felt like there was a lot of new blood that was needed with the roster. It's like, you just made your 3rd straight Super Bowl with these guys. You can't expect a team to just completely overhaul their roster, especially when they're not really an old team. I know some of the positions, those guys are, you know, they up there in years, but they were like bottom 5 in terms of age in the NFL. So yeah, it's not shocking that they would bring most of those guys back.
Yeah, for sure. As far as Nick Bolton goes, you know, with Chiefs Kingdom, I've noticed it's a discourse. It's a one side loves Nick Bolton, one side doesn't want him on the team.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they always highlight his limitations. I know he's not good in coverage, but I always argue there's not like a whole bunch of middle linebackers in the league that's just covering every tight end and running back out the backfield. Maybe count 2 or 3 on your fingers, like Fred Warner, maybe, and I don't know, probably Zach Bond, maybe a few.
And most of these teams are going towards safeties now, covering those guys anyways. So it's not like you're asking your linebackers to do a lot of that because most of these guys aren't athletic enough to cover those guys. Yeah. Those guys are they spent their college years refining their ability to go after running backs in the run game. You can't expect them to then go out there and man up a tight end, especially these tight ends now because they're so athletic, and expect them to just be able to man these guys and shut them down the way that you would expect a real shutdown corner to do. That's not realistic at all.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And I think Nick Bolton makes plays when you need him to make plays. He's contributed on this team to, in this Super Bowl run and I think people forget like what Anthony Hitchens looked like.
Oh yeah. Oh man, he was a liability, man.
Like he was terrible. Like I'm sorry, no respectfully, but it was just I think it was night and day between those two. So
his last year with the Chiefs was probably his best year. It's probably the only year you could say that he was kind of good playing for the team. But even then, it was like what he was able to do and what Bolton has done, especially the last 3 years, night and day. Like he's just so much more consistent. Even if you put him up against a real athletic H tight end, he probably gonna get routed up a few times.
Probably, most definitely. But hey, he gets the defense in line, and everybody on the team respects him as the leader on that defense, and Spags loves him. So that's all that matters to me.
Right.
I was surprised with the Joe Tooney trade. I didn't expect Joe Tooney to get traded. I thought that they were going to let Trey walk. But once they traded Joe, I knew they was going with the younger guy. And they franchise tag him after they said they wasn't going to franchise tag him, but they ended up hitting him with the $23.4 million franchise tag. And I was actually surprised that they still haven't got a deal or extension done. I'm not in panic mode or nothing, but I was surprised that they haven't come to an agreement yet. Where are you at on the Trey Smith and the Joe Tooney trade?
So the Tooney trade, when I heard that they were looking to try and re-sign Trey Smith because the salary cap was a little bit bigger than they was expecting it to be. They thought it was going to be 272, ended up being 279. So I think at that point they were like, you know what? I actually think we can afford to pay Trey. And just considering the age aspect where Tooney's 32, Trey's about to be 26 in June, you got to go with youth in that scenario. And they really like Trey. Trey's got really good chemistry with Creed, and he's very well liked in that organization and in the community. I mean, if we had to pick who your favorite lineman, it's probably Creed 1 for most people, Trey 2. So, in that regard, it makes a lot of sense for them to go keep him. And, look, Tooney, we all really like Tooney and we appreciate the service he's had. He's 32 years old. He's 32.
Yeah. Right.
You're not giving a big extension to a 32-year-old guard, especially because guard is that's not a position that you need to spend a lot of resources to get. You don't need to use a first-round pick on a guard. You can find that day 2, day 3 in the draft, and as long as they're serviceable, you're fine. Right. So I think that in this scenario with Tooney, because of his cap hit, which was I think it was $26 million. So even cutting him, you save $16 million on the cap.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense for you to just deal him. You get a 4th-round pick next year, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, they could have got more, but it's he's a 32-year-old guard. 4th round for a 32-year-old guard is pretty damn good.
It is.
But and the opposite end is now you kind of free yourself to pay some of these younger guys. In the case of Trey, I think the reason why they haven't come to an agreement is just because I think based on what we've heard, it's kind of the Chiefs want a 5-year deal. He wants a 4-year deal. And it makes sense from both sides. For the Chiefs, you get an extra year so you can move some money around, and now you can kind of create some space when you need to. Similar to what they got with Chris Jones and what they got with Patrick Mahomes. I guess the reason why that 10-year deal with Mahomes is the best contract in sports, because you can just play with the money every year and create cap space.
Right.
But in the case of Trey Smith, Trey doesn't want that 5th year because you know how these contracts work. You sign a 4-year deal, but you're not going to play the whole 4 years, most likely. You're probably going to play 3 of them years.
Yeah.
And then after that 3rd year, you either rework that contract, extend them, and then you kind of push some money around to create some more space, or you cut that player, you save a bunch of money on your cap because the dead cap hit is always way lower than what the regular cap hit is. And with that, you're able to then kind of, in Trey Smith's case, get another contract. Because you know what happens when that first digit in your age turns from a 2 to a 3.
Yeah.
It changes the entire mindset that teams have for you.
Yeah.
Let's say he signs a 4-year deal this year. 3 years from now, he's going to be 28 going on 29. It'll be his age 29 season that year. That's a lot better if you are a free agent looking to get a big deal than it is if you're going into your age 30 season, which is what would happen if you had a 5-year deal. Right. And then you get cut a year early. So like from his standpoint, like he's obviously trying to make a play for a 3rd contract. And in that case, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to take that 5-year deal. It makes more sense for you to get that 4-year deal because it's really more than likely a 3-year deal, and you can still hit free agency in your 20s.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
But I do think they get a deal done.
Yeah. What would you say after the draft?
Yeah, I think after the draft. I just think once they know what their cap situation is, where their roster is at, I think that's when they get it done. I mean, obviously you look at the scenario with Chris Jones. I mean, that was a deal that kind of played out for a while. Obviously you had his agents out here sitting with him at a game when they played the Lions in 23. Like, I mean, you had all the theatrics. He was like out, what is he, out at the plaza or whatever with his agents? And they were standing out there talking to the media. Like, it is, I think a deal gets done, but you know, when the Chiefs work on deals, except with Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, it takes a little bit of time because the Chiefs want to make sure that it's a good deal. It's like it reminds me like when my dad would go buy used cars at the car dealership. It wasn't a 1 hour, 2 hour thing. We was there all day. We was there 6-7 hours. My dad was trying to make sure he got the best deal.
Right.
And I guarantee you that's what it is with the Chiefs. When they're making these extension negotiations, they're trying to get the best deal that they can. And I think that at the end of the day, I mean, that's a good mindset to have, even if it kind of gives us a little anxiety.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they get the deal done after the draft. Once they get all their ducks in a row with the draft picks and all that good stuff, they'll have their roster set. Well, pretty much set going into OTAs and training camp and stuff like that. So, and then they brought back Hollywood Brown, which I love that, bringing him back. I think the Chiefs are looking at it like, look, he got hurt before the season even started. We never really got to see this offense in his fullness with Xavier Worthy, with Rashee Rice, and Hollywood Brown on the field, all 3 together. And I just think they feel like if we run this back, I think the offense is going to look a lot better if standing everybody being healthy. Now we got to see what happens with Rashee Rice and the suspension, how many games. But initially they feel like, this is going to be a way better season with this offense, and we're going to look way better when all 3 of these guys is on the field. So,
yeah, it's good that you get a veteran guy back in Hollywood that's still in his prime. Because, obviously they brought back Juju, but, Juju's kind of cooked now. I mean, he can do what like Justin Watson has done the last few years, get you a couple catches a game, couple clutch 3rd down catches, but you're not asking him to go out there and get targeted like 7 times a game. If he's getting targeted 7 times a game, something's wrong with the offense. But Hollywood is a guy that, like, when he came back, he gave the offense just a little bit of juice. The thing is, you need some young dynamic receivers, and a guy like Hollywood is good for that because he's a vet. He his chemistry with Mahomes, I mean, it clicked just like that when he was going through like off-season stuff, and you could kind of see it there. It's just like, because of the nature of the offense, the nature of the offensive line situation, you didn't get to see Hollywood in the way that they were hoping to see him. And that's why I think you get another year of Hollywood in your offense, And that there's more chemistry there. When Rashi gets back, hopefully he gets back sometime, after the first month or so, because I think we assume he's going to get suspended too. But let's say he does miss like a month or whatnot. Well, wait till October. You get Rashi back. You got X in there. You got Hollywood in there. Maybe they go and get another receiver. You got Juju on the back end. I mean, you're talking about a pretty good wide receiver unit, which, the last 3 seasons the Chiefs ain't really had.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely excited to see what this offense looks like when, we haven't had a good offense in a while. It's been like,
22 they was good, but their receiving core wasn't that good. It was just Kelsey. It was just Kelsey and Pacheco. That was really it.
Yeah. But still, it was just like last year. It was just so like just hard to look at.
It was real rough watching them score less than 20 points and winning football games because of the defense. And look, like if you grew up in the 90s, you grew up watching the Chiefs do that anyways. I grew up in the 90s. I was watching them win games with Elvis Gerbach, and they were barely winning these games because their defense was great. But like, man, I want to see them at least give us some fireworks a few times a year. Like at least give us a few games where we don't have to sweat by halftime. Like by the time the third quarter hits, it's like, okay, it's pretty comfortable. They can just go out here and they can cruise to a victory.
I just want to see them beat bad teams, like other good teams beat bad teams. Like there should be no reason why you should be in a dogfight with the Panthers. Like
right, yeah. And like the Panthers might have found a little juice late in the year, and they might make some kind of impact this year. But yeah, like you don't want to see them, barely beat the Raiders because of a fumble. You don't want to see them barely beat the Broncos because you block a field goal. Like you want to see them go out there and win that game by 2 scores. And like they're just trying to stay, like the Broncos are trying to make a drive to stay in the game, not make a drive to win the game. So I that would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. Now some of the people that they signed in free agency, the big one is of course Jalen Moore, left tackle from the San Francisco 49ers. He was a backup for Trent Williams. So he only has a small sample size of games that he played. But most people who watched this tape said that there are some things there that could be encouraging, but we still got to see it for a full 7 or 16 games. So how many games the Chiefs have?
17.
How many games the Chiefs have to
play? Well, yeah, they might be good enough. He could sit out that last one. You never know.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll see though. But what were your thoughts on the Jalen Moore? Because you don't want to overpay for Dan Moore. And the reports were they wanted Ronnie Stanley. Ravens heard that and was like, no.
The Ravens wasn't gonna let Ronnie go. They wasn't gonna let Ronnie come to Kansas City. They already helped him out by supplying him a left tackle in Orlando Brown Jr. Damn well the Ravens wasn't about to give him another left tackle. No. I'm cool with the Jalen Moore signing. I think it's a low risk signing because you can cut him after this year and you only owe him. You owe him like a decent amount of dead cap, but it's not like it's going to hurt you real bad next year if he's not good. So I'm fine with that signing. I think the thing about it is this. It's not surprising they went with a San Francisco 49ers left tackle. They really liked Trent Williams back in 21, and they tried to give him the bag, but the 49ers gave him such a ridiculous offer, he had to take it. So I'm not even mad at Trent. When I saw that contract, I was like, I get it, dog. That's a lot of money to stay in the Bay. Like I'm cool with it, but it makes a lot of sense because he is there from an athletic profile. He is their kind of tackle. Like stylistically, they were pretty different from the Chiefs, but from an athletic profile, they love guys like him that can move. And man, like you get a guy like him that has the athletic profile that he has, and if he can just be decent,
right?
You're not asking him to be a Pro Bowl, all pro left tackle. Oh. Just be Eric Fisher, man. Like maybe you get a Pro Bowl because you play for the Chiefs and people watch you all the time anyway, so they know you. But if you could just be Eric Fisher, and you know how Eric Fisher was, like there were some weeks where we was like, man, Eric might get Mahomes killed out here. Like that Super Bowl against the 49ers, like Nick Bosa as a rookie is just eating him up the whole game. And I'm sitting there watching it. I was like, please, Eric, just don't get him killed.
Right.
And he did his job. Like that third and 15, he blocked him just enough that Mahomes got that throw off the reek. But like there was some times where I was sitting there worried about Eric Fisher. But as long as Mahomes doesn't get killed, I'm cool with Jalen Moore. I'm not asking a whole lot from Jalen Moore. I just need him to not get Mahomes killed.
No, I agree. I'm not asking him to, like you said, I'm not asking him to be Trent Williams. I'm not asking him to be Ronnie Staley. I just want him to be solid, just solid.
You don't need to be Willie Roaf.
No.
Like we just need you to keep Mahomes upright. If you could do that, like he could probably get a good 4 or 5 years here in Kansas City. Maybe win a couple rings or something. You know, he can ride off into the sunset, get a nice little bag on that last contract. And we talking about adding a couple more rings or so to Mahomes' ring collection.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the talk is, and I don't know how you felt about how they handled the Kingsley Suamataia situation, but I wasn't too crazy about it. I thought they kind of gave up on the kid. Like 2 games in, it was just like,
they gave up on him. I mean, they gave up on him.
It was just like, dang, like that quick, man. I mean, he was going against Trey Hendrickson. I mean, dude,
Trey took him to school in week 2. I get it, man. Like that was one of them games where it was like, bro, like Trey is a grown man, and you are a rookie coming from BYU that only played 1 year in Power 5. I understand.
Yeah. So I wasn't killing them too much for that game. I was just like, man, that's Trey, man. He one of the best in the league. So, but they're talking about playing him at guard and replacing Joe Tooney. How do you feel about them moving him inside to guard, a position he's never played before?
So I think he's got the athleticism to play guard. I mean, he was a really athletic tackle. So I think that was like one of the biggest reasons why the Chiefs were really interested in him in the first place, because he's very athletic. So he's a guy that it makes a lot of sense why they would want to kick him in. Obviously, 2nd round pick. You at least want to see what you got in him,
right?
But I think also, I mean, it's not like he's not set in stone. You do have Mike Caliendo. You do have Hunter Norzad. You got C.J. Hansen. You got options at that guard spot outside of Kingsley. I mean, look. I was very critical of the Chiefs for starting Kingsley at left tackle to begin last year, because they generally don't do that with rookies. Generally, they'll ease them in. Like Wanye didn't start immediately. They went down, they got Donovan Smith, and they were like, Donovan, we want you to play that role. And then when Donovan got hurt, Wanye came in and he was all right. He's okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, I just think I think some people do well with baptism by fire. Like some people can adjust to it. It's fine. Not every one of these guys can do that though. And especially when you play 1 year of Power 4. And not only that, but like when you played at left tackle at BYU, because he was originally a right tackle and then he switched over. It was like you saw a lot more holes in this game on the right side than the left side. So, I mean, I think it certainly won't. I don't think it'll hurt him to move inside. I mean, we've seen tackles kick inside a lot. I mean, when the Chiefs back in, I think it was 2012, the Chiefs drafted Jeff Allen out of Illinois. He was a left tackle there, and then they kicked him into guard. He had a nice career playing guard. He played for the Chiefs, played for the Texans, then came back to KC, had a nice little career as a guard. And, I mean, obviously you would have liked for him to have been a long-term tackle for the Chiefs, but hey, you find a guard in the 2nd round, that's cool. I've got no qualms whatsoever if that's where Kingsley ends up. And if he earns that spot, then cool. But I don't think they should go in with the mindset that Kingsley is just going to be the starter just because they drafted him in the 2nd round last year. They got to make him earn it, because I don't think they made him earn it last year at left tackle. And I think that's the reason why you had the situation that you did.
Right. No, I can see that. I can get with that. They also signed cornerback Christian Fulton to a 2-year deal. He played for the Chargers last year. He was drafted by the Texans or Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
He was on that LSU team that won that Super Bowl. I mean, that national
title. It was good. It was real good.
They had all them superstars on that team.
Yeah, and 2 NFL wide receivers for Burrow to throw to. Yeah.
Clyde was on that team. So
yeah.
So yeah, it was a superstar team. But he comes over, and I like Christian Fulton. I actually wanted him when he was coming out in the draft. I actually, thought he was a really good corner coming out of LSU. But he's coming over here, and I think he helps bring depth to that cornerback room because it was a discourse. Once Jalen Watson got hurt last year, Najee was getting picked on, Joshua Williams was getting picked on, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And then when Jalen came back, he was serviceable, but you could still see he was coming back from an injury. He wasn't what he was before he got hurt. So, what was your thoughts on the Christian Fulton signing?
I loved it. I'm a big fan of Christian Fulton. Obviously, as you brought up, like I watched him on that LSU team. Man, they put some good DBs in the league. So I certainly I was like I like this kid. I remember he was coming out of high school. I'm a Florida fan, so I was really wanting him to go down to Gainesville. It didn't happen though because LSU they seem to do real good recruiting over there with those DBs like that. So. Yeah, like I'm a big fan of his work. I think he fits what the Chiefs like in an outside corner. And I think it's really good. It might be like one of the sneaky, like best moves the Chiefs made this offseason.
Right.
Because it allows Trent McDuffie to play more in the slot.
Right.
And I think that people underestimate how important that was for the 23 team.
Yeah.
Being able to have McDuffie in the slot because he's such a good blitzer. He's so good in zone coverage. I mean, as a rookie in 22, like he was their best corner that year because of what he was doing in zone coverage, playing out of the slot like that. And he was a really big reason why like the Chiefs beat the Bengals in the AFC Championship game that year.
Yeah.
Because of how good he was playing over the middle like that and not allowing guys like Chase and Higgins to get that cheap stuff in those short situations. So, yeah, I mean, look, his value, I think, is really felt when he gets to move inside to play the slot. And I think having a guy like that can play man coverage on the outside, on the opposite end of Jalen Watson and Josh Williams and all those guys, it only makes them better. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the move. I mean, a reasonable price, 2 years, 20. So it's not like you had to break the bank. If it doesn't work, you can get out of it after this year, and then you can kind of figure out where you're going to go next year. I think it's probably good for them to take a corner anyways in the draft. But, yeah, like this is one of those moves that kind of plugs a hole for your team in the immediacy while you can still go and develop a guy for the long term.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I love the move. It was probably one of my, if not my favorite move, it was one of my favorite moves.
It's one of mine, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this offseason, I'm still on this in the draft. I want the Chiefs to draft a running back. They got to get juice in that room. I love Isaiah Pacheco. I think when he came back from the injury, he just wasn't quite right. He wasn't what he was before the injury. I expect him to be it's a contract season, first of all. So he's going to be playing with his hair on fire because he wants to get paid. If it's not with the Chiefs, it's going to be with somebody else. They bring in running back Elijah Mitchell, who before the injuries, he was really good. Like the kid.
Yeah, he was real good. He was real good his rookie year.
He was really good. Yeah, he was rookie year. He was really good, but he just suffered too many injuries. And I don't know what it is. Something down in San Francisco where all their running backs get hurt. Like they just get hurt. And I think it's just the style they play, a lot of smash mouth football. So I get it. But then they bring back Kareem Hunt, which I was surprised that they brought back Kareem Hunt. You know, I was surprised that they brought him back. I don't think it means anything, but I was surprised that they brought him back because I thought they were going to try to go a little younger in that room. But I get it. You know, he brings a veteran leadership in that room that, you know, they probably want to bring in there with Isaiah Pacheco. So what was your thoughts on the Elijah Mitchell move?
I can't say I was a huge fan of the move just because the injury concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he hasn't played a game since the 23 season. The 22 and 23 seasons, I mean, he was real brittle. That's the reason why they made that big trade for Christian McCaffrey. His rookie year was awesome. I mean, I was a real big fan of what he did his rookie year, and I was like, man, like 49ers, they really hit on that in the draft. And then, yeah, the 2 years after that, he didn't do much. And then he didn't play at all this past year. So, I mean, the only thing is I hope that because he's getting paid, I think it's a little bit over $1 million for his dead cap hit. So like, that's not like a ton of money if you cut him, but it's probably a little more than I'd like to pay a running back to not play for my team. So that kind of concerns me. But, if Elijah gives you something cool, I don't think that they should be content with what they have in their running back room right now.
No.
Like on my pod, on Character Concerns, me and Bink have been advocating all offseason for the Chiefs to draft a running back. Second day, get a running back. This is a great running back class. There's a lot of guys in this class that are really good. And I think you need to be thinking about 2026 and beyond. Because I don't think they're paying Pacheco. I don't think that's going to happen. Just don't make any sense for you to pay him. It makes a lot more sense for you to draft a guy that has like real 3-down potential, because Pacheco, I don't think he's a very good 3rd-down running back. He's not very good in short yardage situations. No. He's not a great receiver. He can catch, but like I would trust Elijah or Kareem above him as a receiver. I mean, Samaje Perine at the end of the year was really he was their best 3rd-down back at the end of last season in the playoffs. So I want them to get like a real 3rd-down back, a real 3-down back, and like someone you can trust to win in all 3 phases that they ask a running back to participate in. And that way, because like Pacheco's cool. I like Pacheco. I just don't think he's the guy you paid the big money to like that. Just because like I don't think he's a fit from a stylistic standpoint from what the Chiefs like to do. They don't really care about speed for their running backs. They want someone that's going to be a little bit more finesse. Someone who's going to try to get around defenders instead of like what he does is he just lowers his shoulder and just tries to run through anybody that he comes in contact with. And like it's not like he's a tank. He's not like Derrick Henry, where it's like he's real hard to bring down. So it's like he'll fight for yards, but like he'll get messed up in the process. And if he was just a little bit more patient, a little bit more elusive, he could probably get some more yards than him. So I just think there's some better long-term options at running back than what you get with Pacheco.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm with you and Bing. I've been banging the table for us to get a running back, and in this draft class with how deep it is,
it's the year to do it.
There should be no reason why they shouldn't draft the guy. So,
right, yeah.
Now, on the defensive side, they let go of Turk. Turk got paid. Shout out to Turk. He got paid from the Panthers.
Everybody was happy about Turk getting his money.
Yeah, I'm happy for that dude, especially when he came from that injury. He was amazing last year. He gave us juice on that defensive line. So I am happy for that dude. I wish him much success over there with the Panthers. But they brought back Charles Omenihu. I think Charles went out there, thought he was going to get paid bigger than what he was, but found out that, look, you had the suspension the first year, and then you was hurt last year. So we really don't have a big sample size. You don't have the numbers and the stats for us to pay you this much money. So come back, have a 1-year deal, and then you go get paid next year. I love the Charles Omenihu signing. And then we get Mike Edwards back, actual true free safety in this room, where I think we have a bunch of like strong safety guys like Brian Cook and Shamari Connor and even Jaden Hicks. I think those guys are in the box type safeties. I think Jaden Hicks can give you a little bit free safety wise, and Bree Cook has shown when he's healthy he can give you that. But I think Mike Edwards has that playmaking ability that we've been looking for free safety. So what were your thoughts on those 2 signings and bringing those guys back?
So what happened with Omenihu is exactly what I thought it was going to happen. He wanted to be a Chief bad, but he wanted them to pay him multi-year. He wanted to get some security from the Chiefs.
Right.
But from the Chiefs standpoint, it's like, dude, like the last 2 years you ain't played a full regular season. The first year, obviously, you had that domestic situation that cost him 6 games. Yeah. And then he missed like almost half the season because of the ACL injury, which is not his fault. But like it happens, and you do have to think about that long term when you're a team like the Chiefs, and you're trying to like decide whether or not you want to pay a guy who's like almost in his late 20s. I think he's like 27, almost late 20s edge rusher. Like you got to think about the long term ramifications of that, especially when you're a team that is looking at trying to extend your guard at like 23 mil a year. So I get why, like, I completely understand where Amini was coming from. And I felt for him because I was like, if you look at his production, if you look at his impact, like he absolutely deserved to get a good contract. But it's like, when you take into account the circumstances, it's going to be tough for him to go and get that deal. So I was hoping that he would come back on the kind of deal that he came from, and he did. So I was cool with that. I was very cool with that. Even though I do feel for Minihue because I think he's a very likable dude, and I think he expressed his desire very openly on Twitter about wanting to be in Kansas City for the long haul. Yeah. For Mike Edwards, so I think that he's best as like a third safety because the Chiefs like to go three safeties a lot. Yeah. I think he's great. He can rotate back and play deep. Jaden Hicks actually played really well deep. I think he had like 3 picks this year, which is like one of their best guys as far as picks goes. Which I was surprised by because I mean when I watched his film at like Washington State, like he looked just like Justin Reed. Which is the reason why, like I was saying after the draft, I was like, Justin Reed's playing his last year for sure in Kansas City. Yeah. I was like, for sure. You watch that Washington State film, he looks like Washington State Justin Reed. So, like, it's not surprising that Reed was they didn't really make a concerted effort to try to get him back. And I think they can use him and rotate him around because I think he is a lot more talented than I think even like people outside of Kansas City think of him. Cook, I mean, he's probably better as a strong safety, but I think he's been all right as a free safety. But yeah, it's good to have a veteran guy like Mike Edwards who did play really well as a free safety. When Cook got hurt late in 23, he got pushed back and he had to play that role. He played really well. So yeah, I mean, and not only that, but like Edwards did pretty good in that hybrid safety slot role that the Chiefs like to run. I think he was better at it than Shamari Connor was last year. Yeah. So he knows what the Chiefs do in their system. And as I said early in the show, it's like familiarity is something the Chiefs really like, and that's the reason why they brought so many of their guys back. Because you don't have to teach them the system, you don't have to teach them the kind of checks that they do. Because the Chiefs' defense is really complex. They do a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage based on what they're seeing from the offense. And Edwards, he was in that for a year, and he knows the system. And he's a good fit for what the Chiefs like to do. So I really like that move. That gives me a little bit more comfort because I did think the safety was kind of like a sneaky need, maybe like round 7. Because, it's not like you need to go crazy with drafting a safety. You can draft some serviceable guys later. But it makes a lot of sense that you bring a veteran guy back because you don't have to teach a guy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, because you already got a second-year guy coming in with Hicks. It's just like, why have a rookie and a second-year guy when you could have a guy who's been there before and knows like you say, SPAG system. So
yeah, and like Hicks is gonna be taking on a huge, crucial part of the defense now because like Justin Reed was an important part of getting those checks in, of being one of those leaders, him and Bolton on that defense. Right. Now, Jaden Hicks is going to be one of those guys you're going to be looking at to learn that part. So it is good to have a guy like Mike Edwards who can help him learn that part of the defense.
Yeah, for sure. Now we can get into the draft. Now before we get into the Chiefs, this draft is one of the I won't say weird, but
it's not that exciting.
I think after pick 4, it's like a crapshoot on who gets picked where. To me, like I don't like. Of course, the elephant in the room is where does Shedeur Sanders go? Does the Giants pull the trigger? Do the Jets maybe pull the trigger and get him, or does he get to the Raiders? Maybe the Raiders say, "Look, we got Geno for a couple years. Let's sign Shedeur, let him sit, do the Patrick Mahomes package plan type deal," or does he get all the way to the Saints, or does he get past that? I know the Steelers. He visit the Steelers he's about to visit the Steelers, I think, sometime this week. So that's the elephant in the room is Shedeur Sanders. Where does he go? But I think this is, of course, a defensive heavy draft, especially on the defensive line. I think a lot of those dudes are going to come off the board early because a lot of people, these guys there's some really, really good defensive linemen in this draft. I think wide receivers, some of the better wide receivers will go a little bit early off the board. Of course, some of the offensive linemen too. What are your thoughts as far as this draft goes?
It's not top heavy. I'll say that. Like I like some of the guys at the top, but like it ain't one of those classes where like in the top 10 you got like 7-8 guys that you can't miss.
Yeah.
There's going to be some misses in the top 10. There's going to be some guys that are projected to go or end up going top 10 that, I mean, we're going to be talking about years from now, like, well, how did that person get into the top 10 of the draft?
Yeah.
So I do think that that's going to be something we have to look at there. And so this is the reason why like scouting is so important, and also understanding value and understanding what fits on your team is so important. Like a lot of people, when I see like mock drafters, put out their mocks, I mean, they don't account for like what teams are in, or maybe they just don't know what teams are interested in as far as their preferences for size, their preferences for skill set, the type of system they run. They just see, oh, this team needs a player at this position, and this player is generally projected to go here. So that means that they should take this player. And it don't always work like that. Like there's a lot of times where it's like you need a quarterback, but you don't like any of the quarterback options that you have. So it's like it don't make no damn sense for you to just take a quarterback just to take a quarterback. So I think that like for Shedeur, I think his value's been a little understated. I think I'm pretty confident he goes top 10. I think somebody will take him top 10.
Right.
There's like 5 or 6 of them teams in the top 10 that need a quarterback.
Yeah,
somebody's taking a quarterback. Like somebody's taking a quarterback there. Somebody's going to take him. And it's not like he's a bad quarterback. I just don't know if he's an elite quarterback.
Right.
And like, yeah, like not having an elite quarterback. I mean, not taking a non-elite quarterback in the top 10 doesn't sound like great for a lot of teams. But like, you also got to think about this. Tua Tagovailoa got $52 million.
Exactly.
Is he an elite quarterback?
No.
Hell no. He's not an elite quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence.
52 million. Trevor Lawrence. What did he get, like 54, 55 million? Is he an elite quarterback? No. He's won one playoff game in his career. And yet, guys like that still get paid. Justin Herbert got like 55. He's not an elite quarterback. He still got paid. So, like, I mean, Sam Darnold got $33 million for one good year. Yeah. He had one good year his entire career. He's been in the league for forever. He's been in the league since 2018, one less year than Patrick Mahomes. He got $33 a year from the Seahawks. Like, do you really think that someone getting paid like that, like he really deserves that? Yeah, probably not. But for a lot of teams, it's better to have a mediocre quarterback than it is to have no quarterback. So I think somebody's gonna go out there and get Shedeur in the top 10, just because you would much rather hope that he turns into like a Baker Mayfield type, which I think is a decent comp for him, because him and Baker are like similar quarterbacks. Not great arm strength, but good competitors. They definitely believe in themselves. And you look at like Shedeur's a very accurate quarterback. He don't have a great arm. Like he's not going to bomb it down the field with great accuracy and timing. But within 15 yards, I think he could work really well. Yeah. And I think there's value in having a guy that can do that, because if you surround him with a bunch of talent and you put a good defense on the other side of the ball, you could do what the Bucs are doing, which is going to the playoffs every year and being competitive. And maybe one of these years you sneak into the Super Bowl and maybe you just so happen to win. So I think Shedeur is going to go in the top 10. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the greatest draw. I'll say this: if the Chiefs were picking in the top 10, I wouldn't feel that comfortable with this year's draft.
Because look, I'm a big Cam Ward fan. I actually like Cam Ward.
Oh, I'm a big Cam Ward fan too. I agree with you.
I think dude is immensely talented. I don't know what the hell LaShawn McCoy was talking about on his show, talking about, I don't think he's gonna be that good because he was a zero star.
He's a hater anyway. He's a hater anyway.
0-star coming out of high school. That was high school, man. What are you talking about, man?
Patrick was a 3-star coming out of high school, and look at him now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, have you watched him? Did you watch him the past few years, especially last year when his defense would put him in bad situations and he had to bail him out every time? So I'm a big Cam Warford, but I'm a big Shedeur Sanders fan. I think that, he was playing with an average offensive line at best. He had good weapons.
Average is a little generous. They was terrible, bro. He was running for his life out there. He got hit. I think he got hit more than almost any quarterback in Power 4. Like, that's a terrible O-line.
Yeah, for sure. But I think Shedeur is going to be fine if he gets with the right. I think he needs to get with the right team. Like, if he gets with a super bad team, I think that can hurt him. But I think if he gets with a solid team with a good organization that's got a little structure to him, I think he'll be fine.
That's why I kind of hope he goes to a team like the Saints.
Yeah,
because I think that if he goes to a team like the Saints, they at least got some structure around him to help him out, because they got some receivers for him to throw to. Like, I'm a huge Chris Olave fan.
Yeah.
So like, you got someone like him to throw the ball to. You got some good. You got obviously you got Alvin Kamara back there in the backfield. He's a great receiver on his own and his end. So it's like, you still got talent on your defense too. So like, at least you got some structure around you to succeed. But if he goes to a team like the Giants, who are probably going to fire their GM and their head coach after this season, man, I don't know if I feel that good about that situation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. But let's get to the Chiefs. Now, like you said, you talked about mock drafts, and lately we've seen a lot of mock drafts. They've either drafted Josh Simmons or what's his name, Josh Conley.
I've seen Donovan Jackson. I've seen some Ariante Ursery.
Yeah, in the first round.
Yeah.
You see some. I've even seen one where they had Greg. Was it Zabel? The kid.
Greg Zabel. Yeah, from North Dakota State. Yeah, who I like. I just don't like the Chiefs to take him in the first round.
No, not in the first round. Please don't draft the guard.
And I think he's a first round pick. I'm just not interested in drafting a guard in the first round.
No, me neither. But where do you think the Chiefs should go in the first round? Let's say Simmons is sitting there, a top. Let's say one of the top defensive linemen is sitting there, and maybe Luther Burden drops. Where do you think they should go at 31?
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't want them to take an offensive lineman at 31. And I know that, like, there's a lot of people out there that have been sold on this tackle class, because they see these mock drafts. They see Mel Kiper, all these people. Oh, man, they should take Josh Simmons. They should take – I saw Donovan Jackson earlier today from, like, PFF.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think tackle is going to happen in the first round. Like, let me just tell you this. The top 4 tackles in this class might be a tackle. Like, there's multiple teams in the league that think they're going to have to move inside the guard.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a might be a tackle in round 1. Mm-mm. I'm just not. There are project guys that you can take on day 2. Guys like Ariante Ursery. Mm-hmm. Guys like Charles Grant. Mm-hmm. Guys like a day 3, you probably take a Holland Pierce. He's a super project, but still, you probably get him around on day 3. I'm not comfortable with taking guys that might be a tackle. And I know some people are like, well, you can just kick him in the guard. Again, I said this a few minutes ago. I'm not taking no damn guard in round 1.
Right.
I'm just not. It's just not. I'm not interested in it. It's not a position you need to use those valuable resources in round 1 to get. You can find good value at guard on day 2 and day 3. Right. So on day 1, I think you go out there and you take best available player at a position you can use. I don't think any of these tackles, Josh Connolly, no. I mean, have you seen him run block? He don't push nobody in run. Nobody. Like Wanye Morris, he can move grown men in the run game at the NFL level. Kingsley Suamataia can move grown men in the run game in the NFL. Josh Connolly couldn't even do it at the college level. Like his biggest weakness is his upper body strength. He don't move people in the run game. He gets pushed back against power rushers. I'm not using a first round pick on a guy that isn't even strong enough to be a dominant tackle in college. Like he's like really mobile. He's a great athlete. Like I think he was like a former running back in high school or something like that before he moved up to the line. Like real good athlete. But I'm not using prime, late first round pick on people that might have to move inside to guard. I would much rather use that on defensive tackle. So you're talking about Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, Nick Scorton, guys like that. Luther Burden, like you just brought up, who's one of my biggest draft crushes. If he were there at 31, I've been saying it for a month now. I would pound the table for Luther Burden at 31 if he was sitting there. If Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, if he's there at 31, like I'm cool with that too, because I think he projects to be similar to Kelsey in terms of his style. He's a little bit better blocker than Tyler Warren. But he's also really, really good against zone. He's a really, and which is Kelsey's specialty is beating zone coverage. So you get a year, presumably a year under Kelsey, and you get to learn the nuances of the option route running that the Chiefs let Kelsey do. And, I think there's a lot of different options you could have there. But the only offensive player I think I'd be comfortable with them taking is only offensive players I'd be comfortable with them taking at 31 would be Colston Loveland or Luther Burden. Otherwise, I'm going defensive tackle, or maybe even there's a couple of corners I could see. Savon Revel Jr., the corner at the ECU. I think he projects to be a L'Jarius Sneed type corner. I think he fits really well in Spag's system. Got the size, got the length, got the speed, got the skill set. And then Maxwell Hairston, he's smaller. Doesn't have quite the elite size that Savon Revel has. Savon Revel's got the same arm length as the top tackle in this class, Will Campbell, 32 5/8 inches, which is crazy for a corner. But Hairston ran like a 4.29 40 at the combine. So he's one of those guys that he's going to be more like a ball hawking type outside corner. He can certainly, if he makes mistakes in coverage, he can make up for it with his speed. So, that's definitely a guy you look at as well. But I'm not really comfortable with taking an offensive lineman at 31.
I agree with you, man. Josh Simmons scares me because of his injury, man. Like
that too. That's something you got to think about too.
Like I understand. Like before the injury, he was really good, but man, a patella tendon injury, like I don't know if I want to take that guy at 31. I don't know.
And I'm not even convinced he's gonna fall to 31.
I don't
because I think there's going to be teams that are going to be willing to at least see what he has. And just because like this isn't a great first round to pick most guys anyways, there might be some teams that just want to be safe and say, if he's a tackle, cool. If he's a guard, cool. That's fine. We'll take him at like 21 or whatever. Like I wouldn't be shocked if someone did that. Like I'm not confident that he's even going to be available at 31.
No, I agree. I can see the Texans saying bump it. Like we need offensive line help.
Oh yeah, they do. They they basically clean house with their whole line, and it looks like it's worse than it was last year.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm a big Walter Nolan guy. I don't make no bones about it.
That's my favorite D lineman in this draft class. If I could have my pick of guys at 30 to be there at 31, aside from like Mason Graham, it would be Walter Nolan. I think he has Chris Jones upside as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I see when I see from him. Chris Jones coming out of college. You put him next to Chris Jones and let him be his mentor for a few years and just pass the torch to him. Like, here you go, young man. Do what I did with it. Man, I just think those two together with Charles Omenihu and George Karlaftis, you sprinkle a little FAU in there. Man, I think that.
I think and the thing about him is like, one, I think he's a little underrated as a run defender. He's not like as good as Derek Harmon as a run defender, where like Derek Harmon will like bust through the line and make tackles behind the line. He's a guy that like it could be like a destroyer in the run game on the interior. Walter Nolan, though, was a very short tackler in the run game. Like Chris, you remember like early in Chris Jones's career, he wasn't that great of a run defender.
No, he wasn't. He was
He was not. He's gotten a lot better. But he's not like an elite run defender. But he's a good run defender now. But like Walter Nolan has upside to be a good run defender, someone that holds their spot in the line. And when the running back decides he's going to try to test him, he's going to get a hand on him and pull him down. That's what Walter Nolan did when he was at Mississippi. And I think that's going to be what he does at the NFL level too. So like I said, I just think the upside from him as a pass rusher, if he's there at 31, it'd be hard. Even if he's there at like 26 and the Rams are cool with making a trade with you, like I might think about that move there.
Yeah, I agree. But the Rams, I could see them trying to take Walter Nolan right there too. Trying to get that
possibly, but like, I mean, you look at the Rams; they got a pretty good pass rush right now.
Oh, they do.
They took a couple of guys. They took
Verse and all them
Fisk and Verse. Yeah, two guys, especially Verse. Like last year, I was talking a lot about Verse as a possible option for the Chiefs at defensive tackle. No, he ended up moving outside, and he actually played mostly edge rusher, which is a little surprising because his arms aren't that long. So it was surprising, but he's a really good pass rusher. So, but yeah, like if they are cool with moving back a little bit, letting the Chiefs go up and get a guy like that if he falls, that would be my perfect scenario for the Chiefs.
Are there any day 2, day 3 wide receivers that you like?
So I like this guy from Stanford, Elikai Manor. He might go first round. He maybe goes first round, but I think he's probably early to mid day 2 guy. He is a guy that I think has really, I think he's a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on at wide receiver. He is really athletic. This is a guy who's like 6'2", just over 200 pounds, like 210, 215. And he runs like right around a 4.4 40, which a lot of people is like, oh, that's not elite speed, but that's still really good speed for someone who's 6'2", 215 or so.
Yeah.
And you watch his tape. He didn't have a good quarterback, didn't have a good O-line. So a lot of times they was just kind of throwing the ball up to him. But he's a good route runner. He's big. He uses his size really well. Very good athlete. If he's sitting there late, I mean, not late, but like mid-second round, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs moved up and got him. Or if somehow he were to fall to 63 and the Chiefs didn't get a receiver in round 1, he would be a guy I would be all for them taking. I think he'd be a nice addition to what the Chiefs are looking for. I think he'd be similar to Rashee Rice, but he's a guy that I think you could take a little bit more risk with. You could kind of throw some 50-50 balls up there and let him go use his athleticism to go get it. Really good vertical jump as well. I think he was like, I think it was 38 and a half. So like really, really good vertical. So yeah, like someone like that, I'd be really interested in. Jalen Noel from Iowa State. I love him as a slot receiver for the team. Good speed, another 4.4 40 guy. He's not super big. I think he's like 5'10", just under 200 pounds. I think he's like maybe 180, 190. But he has, I think, the tools that the Chiefs like. He's very good at getting open underneath. And because of his speed, he's one of those guys that, like, if he's able to find the seam, he can take it. So I really like what he brings to the table as a potential late second, early third round option. And
he's
then
the hometown kid, right?
Yeah, he Park Hill. I think he was Park Hill South, or no, it was Park Hill. I think he was a Park Hill kid. And then the last guy is I think it's Kyle Williams from Washington State. That's another kid. Like, I think he's like a McCole Hardman type. He kind of has a drop problem, but size-wise, he's a little bit bigger than McCole. He's another 4.4 40 guy, slot receiver type. He's very agile. When he has the ball in his hands, he is a great playmaker. He's just not super reliable because he has a drop problem. So, like, that's why I think he's like good as a gadget guy, a McCole Hardman type. You're not asking him to do a whole lot. You're just saying, hey, if we get you like 2-3 touches a game in like some type of gadget situation, make the most of it every now. And he can go deep. You got X. You got him. Both of those guys can go deep. The defense is going to focus on X. That is going to open things up for Williams on the back end there. I think that he'd be a really great option, like round 3, round 4.
What would be the ideal running back to pick on day 2 or day 3 for you?
Oh, man. So I really love Caleb Johnson from Iowa.
That's who Mel
I
has us drafting.
Oh, I,
In the
I
second
love, I
round.
love, I love Caleb, man. We had a guy on, I think it was Josh Edwards from CBS last week when we did our live version of our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this might rub some Chiefs fans the wrong way, but he compared him to Larry Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you watch the game, it's very similar. The easy comparison is Lev Bell. I think a lot of that is because the uniforms look similar or whatnot. So I think it's aesthetically it's easier. And he is similar to Lev Bell, but Larry Johnson is a real strong comparison. Larry was not a speedster, and Caleb's not either, as far as like getting up to speed. But when Caleb gets going, he not only is he real fast, he can get up to like 22 miles an hour. But he's because of his size, he's like 6'1", over 220. He's hard to bring down. He's a truck. And I think when you've got a guy who has that size, that skill set, he can catch, he can pass pro. And you talk about like a potential workhorse type of guy. I think he's the perfect fit for what the Chiefs are looking for. If you can't get Amari in Hampton, which you're not going to be able to get Amari in Hampton, he's probably going to go like top 25. So
he ain't getting past Dallas, I don't think.
Nah. So I think you're going to see. I think Caleb Johnson will be a great option. Another guy I really like, local kid DJ Giddens from Kansas State. Mm-hmm. Another big guy. He's like 6 foot, 212 or so, 4.3 40 speed. He's big, but he doesn't run like he's this freight train. He can lower his pads and knock someone out, but he's really elusive.
Yeah.
And he's like, to me, if you want to go like, who do I think is like right behind Amari and Hampton as far as like elusiveness? It's DJ Giddens. DJ, he's very good at making guys miss, and that's like an elite trait at the NFL level. You got to make guys miss as a running back. You try to lower your shoulder and run into guys, you're going to get tackled a lot. But if you make guys miss, you can get extra yards. And he was great at that. He can catch, he can pass protect. He has all the tools the Chiefs are looking for at a running back. And the thing I really like about him is that he's deceptively quick. Like, he's not one of those guys that like is, like on Madden, you get those people that as soon as they hand the ball to the running back, they hold down the sprint button, they just run like Pacheco and whatnot. Like he's that type of running back. He's not like that. He's got some patience to his game, and he's willing to let blocks develop, let guys get to the second level, and then he starts to hit that hole there. So I really like his game. And then Devin Neal, the KU running back, another local kid. And Neal's another guy, doesn't have the speed that a guy like Giddens has. I think he was like 4'5", 840. But again, has the skills that you like in a running. The Chiefs really covet in a running back. And he's one of those guys that it takes him a little bit to get up to speed, but he can get going. When he gets going, he gets going. And as a receiver, I mean, after Hampton, he might be the best receiving back in this class. Like, I really like Devin Neal catching passes in like screen situations and whatnot. So at the very least, I think he could be like a really, really strong like third down option. So that to me is like, those are the kind of guys I'd be looking for on like day 2.
What's your thoughts on the Ohio State boys?
Well, here's the problem with Ohio State boys. Eric Bieniemy never drafted anybody from Ohio State since he's been with the Chiefs. Not a single one. Not one Ohio State guy he has drafted since he has taken over as the general manager of Kansas City. I don't know why. I cannot tell you the reason. I ain't never talked to these, so I can't tell you. I just know that he's never drafted anyone from Ohio State. Now, if he were to be open to drafting an Ohio State running back, Travion Henderson would be my guy. That's a guy I think, again, you talk about those skills. He has that little bit smaller. He's like 5'9", a little bit, like right around 200 pounds or so. So you worry about the durability long-term with him. But, I mean, he got some burst to him. He's elusive. He makes guys miss. But I don't know how long that career peak is going to be. Like, I can see him being a Zeke Elliott type where he has like an elite 5 years and then he kind of just it slowly starts to go down because you get the kind of uses that them guys like that have. 5 years in, when you start talking about that second contract, it's just not the same. And that's the thing that concerns me about Travion. I'm interested in taking guys that you could potentially sign to a second deal because the value's there. Because a running back second contract isn't as crazy as it used to be. It's a lot more affordable now. You just got to find the right guy to do it. You're not going to pay anybody a second contract. It's guys that, are durable and are going to be able, they're going to play until like 28, 29 and still be able to be productive. And I'm not confident that someone like Travion Henderson would do that. And then for like Judkins, I don't know if Judkins is going to be an elite back. I think he's probably going to be a decent back. I just don't know because he was like a good like first, second down guy when he was at Ohio State. Got a lot of carries, but he wasn't as efficient as Travion was, I think, in how he used those carries. So, I like him. He would not be the guy I would take for a team that is looking to find a potential three down back for the long haul.
Okay. You like RJ Harvey?
I like RJ Harvey, but the same thing with Travion worries me with him is the size. He's like 5'9", 200. Yeah. And, it's like, and I'm generally not a size guy for a lot of these positions. Like receivers, I prefer them a little smaller just because they're a little bit more speedy and elusive. Mm-hmm. But, nowadays with the way these teams are kind of attacking the run game and you got these great athletes on the defensive side, you need somebody that can absorb some hits because we're kind of going back to the type of NFL that we saw 20, 25 years ago, where you had guys like Marshall Faulk and Eddie George and, guys like that and Marshall Faulk wasn't like a huge running back. He's like right around 6 foot, 220, something like that. But like Eddie George is like 6'2", 6'3", 240, he can take hits. Yeah. Guys like that are much more durable for the long haul. Right. And that's the thing I'm really kind of looking for. If you're going to get someone that's like under 6 feet, I want them to be like over 210. I don't want them to be like right around that 200 range because we've seen a lot of running backs right around that range. They take a hit or two and all of a sudden you're talking about them missing 3-4 games a season. And now we got to rely on the backup and we're not quite getting the full value that we have with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Before I get you out of here, man, just want to go around the league real quick. I don't think, especially on the AFC side, I don't think too many teams have like really just improved to where like people are looking at them like, oh, they're going to be the ones to take over and beat the Chiefs. Like, I think the Ravens, they pretty much re-signed Ronnie Staley. They didn't really they signed DeAndre Hopkins. Like if they're banking on that to be their big splash.
That's your big move. I'm not really worried about that.
I'm not scared of that. Even Stephon went to the Patriots. Like you said before, the Texans have dismantled their offensive line. It's probably worse than because you traded your best offensive lineman away and you bring in Cam Robinson. Like he's okay, but he's not Laremy Tunsil. Miami's gonna be Miami. Bengals, they decided to go with just scoring 50 and still letting people score 50 on them, I guess. So I don't see anybody really in the AFC Buffalo, they got a little bit better, but even them, you got Joey Bosa. We seen him twice a year, and you'll be lucky if you can get a game out of Joey Bosa.
Yeah, he ain't the same Joey Bosa that he was a few years ago. He's getting hurt all the time now.
So if you just looking at the landscape of the offseason so far, this is before the draft, of course. What are your thoughts on the NFL as a whole, the other teams compared to the Chiefs?
I kind of feel like the AFC is just hoping that the Chiefs regress more so than they're trying to improve their team.
Yeah.
Because, man, I'm looking at the rest of besides the Bills, but I think the Bills, they're still – you got Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Continuity on the offense. I do worry about their long term as far as receivers go because, I don't really think they've got an elite receiver. I like Khalil Shakir and whatnot, but I don't really like Keon Coleman. So as far as their long-term position goes in their offense, James Cook might be a little mad this year because They don't seem like they want to sign him to a long-term deal. So, I mean, maybe he's motivated and he actually has a better year, or maybe he's mad at them and, his production kind of regresses. We'll see. But man, I look at the rest of the AFC and I don't really see a team right now that jumps off as like gonna take a big step forward, except maybe like the Jags. I think the Jags are gonna take a step forward. I like their coach, Liam Cohen. I think he was a really good play caller for the Bucs. I mean, we saw what his offense can do when the Bucs came to Kansas City and played the Chiefs. Like they were able to move the ball. They did a really good job of challenging the Chiefs in that game. And I mean, this is a guy that was able to take Baker Mayfield and turn him into a good quarterback. I mean, we saw what he was when he was in back end of the Browns, Carolina, LA. It wasn't good. And he was able to turn him into like a really good quarterback. So you get a more talented quarterback in Trevor Lawrence who hasn't quite found that stride yet. Maybe you can get something out of him in that regard. So I do think that the Jags will take a big step forward. I just think it might be back to what they were in 22. Aside from that, like, I think the Ravens will still be the Ravens. They'll still be a challenging team. The Bills will still be the Bills, challenging team. I don't see the Texans really making any major improvements. I think they're going to be similar to what they were. The Bengals are going to have to score 50 points to win the game, so I'm not really confident in what they're going to do. I mean, at this point now, I mean, the teams maybe the Broncos take a step forward. Maybe Bo Nix takes a step forward as a quarterback. We'll see. But right now, I don't think anybody has made a move aside from the Jags to get considerably better from what they were a year before. It's more so, do the Chiefs still have it to dominate the AFC rather than is one of these teams going to step up and finally dethrone?
Yeah, because if you listen to the national media when they talk about the Chiefs, of course, the discourse is the offensive line. You got Colin Cowherd talking about like, oh, the offensive line is worse, so they're going to regress and charge again. Of course, the yearly Chargers are going to win the division talk
every year. Every year, man.
And I don't think they even approve. You think Najee Harris is the big splash move? Then he's not better than J.K. Dobbins when he's out.
No, he's not. He's a very inefficient running back.
Yeah. So, and then just sticking to our division, I think the Broncos defensively they've got if Greenlaw and Hufanga can stay healthy, then their defense is going to be their defense was already good last year. So it will definitely be upgraded from last year. But they got to stay healthy. Hufanga is known for getting hurt, and then Greenlaw, he's coming off of that, ACL tear that he had in the Super Bowl. Let's see how he looks, a year removed from that. So, I'm not too much scared of the Raiders. I mean, Geno, he's going to make them better. He's better than what they've had, but still, I'm still not scared of the Raiders. And then, like you said, the Bengals, Buffalo, Ravens, they're going to be who they are. It's whatever. Like, I still think the Chiefs are still in a good spot to still be Super Bowl contenders and run the AFC.
In regards to Geno, the thing that concerns me is the same thing that concerns me with any quarterback that goes and plays for the Raiders. Like, we saw Carson Palmer go from the Bengals to the Raiders, and he went from having like some of the best numbers that you were seeing in the NFL to being a joke. Like, I was loving when the Chiefs would play the Raiders back when Carson Palmer was the quarterback because it was a disaster every time they played. And then you're talking, and then he leaves and he ends up going to Arizona, and he has a great end to his career. Like, all of a sudden, as soon as he's away from the Raiders, he's actually good again as a quarterback. So, like, I wonder if that's going to happen here, because it's like, it seems like they're trying to build a team that can compete and win, but they're trying to do it the way that like teams would do in the 1995. Let's go get a veteran quarterback and let's get some veteran guys at some key positions, and then let's go get this veteran coach, and then, we'll hope that the experience that they have is going to help them win some games. And look, the Raiders will probably win, maybe a couple more games than they won last year.
Right.
It could also go really bad, and you could completely fall apart because it's not like you got a whole lot of talent on that team already. They haven't drafted well. for a long time.
I think
Like,
Brock Bowers has been their best draft pick they've had.
Easily probably since they took Max Crosby in like round 3, like years ago. So like you're talking about a team that has not drafted well, does not have this great youth movement, and now you're going to hope to start drafting well now so that you can supplement your winning. Man, that is so hard to do in this league, and I'm just not very confident that's gonna work out long term for them. I think what's going to happen is it's probably very likely that they just come in and they just start getting whooped early. And then next thing you know, we're talking about how long this experiment's going to be with Carroll, how long this experiment's going to be with Geno. And then it's going to be like, okay, well, maybe they need to draft a quarterback next year. And maybe they do end up drafting one of the guys, whether it's Drew Aller or Arch Manning, one of those guys next year. But yeah, I'm not the Raiders, I'm not that confident in. The Broncos, I don't know how much more Bo Nix is going to grow because the Broncos play a system that is like from 20 years ago, and it works. It works, but there's a ceiling to how good you're going to be playing that system. And you saw them against the Bills. The Bills were just playing a lot of cover 2, and it was a little tough for the Broncos to move the ball and score on them. So it's like, maybe you got to upgrade your system, Sean Payton, and then the Chargers are the Chargers. And the Chargers are the same thing every year, which is they look good for a good portion of the season. They drop some games they probably should win because they're the Chargers. And then you get to the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, get to the playoffs, and you have a heartbreaking playoff loss because that's just what the Chargers do. Yeah. And until they break that cycle, I'm not buying.
I'm not buying them either. I'm not. Look, Justin Herbert, I think he's talented. Because you'll see some throws from Justin Herbert, and it's like, man, wow. Then you'll see some throws from Justin Herbert, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, why did
he's like one of the favorite quarterbacks for the media. Like he's a media darling type quarterback. It's kind of like he kind of reminds me of like T-Mac back in the 2000s. Like really awesome player, but like you knew T-Mac wasn't leading the Rockets to the finals. No. Like you knew he was gonna be awesome during the regular season. Like him and Yao Ming gonna be awesome during the regular season. Like real cold player. Wait till they play a team like the Lakers or somebody. Wait till they play somebody like the Spurs. Like it's different, man. Like he gonna get his, but team's still not gonna win. And it's because it's not that second gear, that level that he can get to and make those kind of plays that like the real elite players. Like he was awesome, but it's like he didn't have what Kobe had at the end of his career. No, and like that's the big difference there. And I kind of feel like with Herbert, it's like Herbert is a cold player. You watch him play, he's fun to watch play quarterback.
Yeah.
But when he has to go win a big game, when he has to go to Kansas City or host Kansas City in his own house, oh man, it's real tough for him to go out there and win those games because he just don't have that second level, that elite level that the top players in his position.
Like a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, like guys like that. He just don't got that. Like he's real awesome. He's fun to watch. Like years from now, when he finishes his career, like 10, 15 years from now, when he finishes his career, and we're talking about Justin Herbert, and we're looking back at his career. Maybe he's doing a Hall of Fame speech or something, but he doesn't have any titles. We'll be like, man, he was a cold dude. He just wasn't like that dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. He came up in the era of the Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. It's just even Joe Burrow is just like. Yeah.
It's a terrible era to be a really good but not great quarterback. It's a terrible era to be that because, like, dude, Justin Herbert, if he would have played in the NFL like 20 years ago, like he would be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he would be out there. He'd probably be year in year out in the playoffs, maybe even get a Super Bowl, like maybe even get a ring if he had a defense.
Yeah,
but now. It's like you are in such a tough spot that because you're playing, you got the best quarterback in the league in your division, and you got all these other quarterbacks that are great in your conference. I mean, Lamar Jackson would be the best quarterback in most eras. Josh Allen would be the best quarterback in most eras. Mm-hmm. But you got all three of those guys in your conference. Mahomes in your division. That's tough to get over.
Yeah. As far as Bo Nix goes, we got to watch out for that sophomore slump. Like we saw with CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Everybody thought CJ Stroud was, he's the Texans, man. They might win the Super Bowl this year type deal. And it's just like, you see, man, these defensive coordinators, they get paid too, man. They watch tape on you and they see your tape.
They figure it out. They figure you out after like that first year. They ain't got no tape on you. They don't know your offensive tendencies because they got to figure out what the OC is willing to call for you. But year 2, they got a whole year's worth of tape on you. And a lot of times these teams aren't changing their offense up from year 1 to year 2 because they want their quarterback to stay comfortable and consistent. So year 2, teams know exactly how to exploit you. And like you just brought up, like teams figured out, hey, let's blitz him. Let's just blitz him right down the middle. The interior of his O-line, they can't block nobody. Blitz him right down the middle. We know he's going to have some problems.
Yep. So we got to see year 2, with Bo Nix, and that bodes with Jaden Daniels. Even though I think Jaden Daniels is going to be great, we got to see year 2 of Jaden Daniels, how he looks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It might not be so great. Everybody's looking at the Commanders because they got all this money. They got some new guys in the build, Deebo Samuels and all that stuff. We got to see, man, is Jaden Daniels going to take a step back now because defensive coordinators like, okay, he likes to do that. Oh, okay, when he okay, yeah, I see it now. Like, so we're gonna have to see with that. But Chris, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Always great to talk Chiefs, man, and I appreciate you coming on, giving your insight, man, and just rapping with me about the Kansas City Chiefs, man. And excited for the draft, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Like, I really enjoy this. Like, I always love being able to sit there, talk football, talk draft. It's one of the things I've been able to enjoy being able to do here at 96.5 The Fan. So, yeah, being able to get on and kind of help people give some hints about where the Chiefs could go in the draft this year. I really enjoyed that part of it for sure. So I appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. Hey, tell everybody where they can find you and what you got coming up. Anything you got coming up on the schedule or anything?
So this Thursday, me and Bink are going to be on live for a live Character Concerns. Going to be from 6 p.m., 9 p.m. We're going to have Matt McMullen on from the Kansas City Chiefs. We've had him on the last 2 years. He's my favorite guest to have on. He's going to be in the studio from 7 to 8. So we'd appreciate if you guys tuned in to us. You can listen to the Character Concerns podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever we're on it. We'd appreciate you give us 5 stars, download wherever you get your podcasts at. And then on April 24th, night 1 of the NFL draft, we're going to be at the Landing up in Liberty. We're going to be doing a live draft special there. So me and Bink will be there up on the stage calling the show up there. So we'd appreciate any and everybody. I mean, I know it's up there in Liberty, but make the jump up there. We appreciate it. It's a great spot. They're very, very great to us. And that's the reason why we went back there and we're doing it again this year. So that's going to be on the docket for us. Also, every Monday evening, that's when our podcast gets published, Character Concerns. We just did our mock draft 2.0 for the Chiefs, full 7-round mock last night, just put it up there. So we'd appreciate if you go out there and listen to that as well.
Definitely will do that. Definitely do that. Like I said, once again, man, thanks, Chris, man. Appreciate you coming on. Definitely gonna have to get you back on a little bit after the draft, man. To get
yeah, of course.
So, all right, brother, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, man.
All right, Chiefs Kingdom, man. Another great show in the books. Hope everybody enjoyed the show today, man. And yeah, man, it was good to talk Chiefs with Chris, man. He's a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I listened to him on 96.5 The Fan, and I've listened to Character Concerns. So definitely go over there and listen to him, and also follow him on all social media platforms, man. So you can get some more insight on social media. All right, good people, I'm going to go ahead and land this thing. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see the link, emqpodcast.com/locker-room. You'll see the locker room access of all the podcasts under the Every Morning Quarterback umbrella. We got they got a 49ers one. They have a Patriots one, and they have ours, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Click on the banner. You see all of the episodes from the past one to the recent ones. Also, they have their own podcast YouTube channel. Check them out, man. They talk about everything NFL league wide. They talk about the draft too. They talk about college football too. And they also give you betting tips for the week. So go ahead and subscribe to those brothers' channel and shout out to them over there. And whatever streaming platform you use, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, whatever you listen to your podcast on, Arrowhead Chief Podcast is available. Also, if you're a first-time watcher on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button. So when we go live on Tuesdays, usually around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, you could jump in the live with us. You could talk about these cheap topics with us. We want to hear from you. Whether you agree with us, don't agree with us, we want to hear your opinion on when we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. So yeah, man, subscribe to the channel. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, whatever you use, Twitch, whatever you use to do your social media on, Arrowhead Chief Podcast is available. You can follow us at AH Chief Podcast. We'll follow you back because we are some regular guys who like to talk Kansas City Chiefs. We are not Hollywood over here. We're just regular Chiefs fans just like you. So go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and follow us. If you have feedback, critiques, or if you have a question or topic that's that is concerning the Chiefs or NFL league wide, you can hit us up via email, DMs, or our mentions. If we like said question or topic, we will bring it up on the show. We will shout you out on the show because we want to show love to those who show love to us. So go ahead and follow us, man, and hit us up. Also, we still got the Arrowhead Chief Podcast t-shirts with the big three in the back, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones on the back of the shirt, and it says Big 3 on the back. Get your shirt now on any of our social media platforms. You'll see the Printify link to our site to get in any of our merchandise. So yeah, man, go there now and get your shirt, man. $25 is how much the shirt is. So all right, good people. Until next Tuesday, man, I hope y'all have a good rest of your week. Hope you guys be safe out there. And until then.